Hello everybody and welcome back to Coloring with Haley. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be doing a review and comparison of these new Dyvicl metallic gel pens that you can buy on Amazon. And at least I think that's how you pronounce the company name, Dyvicl. I've seen a couple of YouTube videos where people have hauled these and they are comparing them to the Pentel Sparkle Pop pens, saying that these are a more affordable option. You guys know that I love my Pentel Sparkle Pop pens, so I thought we would put that to the test and see if these really do compare to those or not. The box is simply just this picture of a butterfly. It doesn't really offer much information, just the 12 colors, 2 shades in one. It doesn't have the names of the colors or anything. You guys are familiar with Pentel Sparkle Pop pens. I have an open package here. They look like this. These retail at Hobby Lobby for $20 or on Amazon for $15.99, which we'll just go ahead and say $16 for 8 pens. They are 1.0 millimeters. These are on Amazon for $12.89 for 12 pins, and they are 1.0 millimeters, so they are the same size. So when you're buying the Sparkle Pop pins, you are basically paying $2 for each pin, and let's do a little bit of quick math here on the Dyvicl one. So $12.89 divided by 12 pins, you're paying about $1.07 per pin from this brand here. I'm going to get out one of the Sparkle Pop gel pens and we'll have a look at the pens themselves. I haven't done anything but cut these open because they were taped at the top, so I haven't even looked in this box yet. We're gonna open this up. Okay, so these are completely plain and unbranded. They simply are just a pen, and I don't even, there's a covering in there, so I can't even really tell how far the ink goes down. This is not sparkly ink here, this green part in the pen. It's like a plastic covering. Let's see. Yeah, let's see if we can open one of these. No, it's not going to open, is it? Interesting. I'd like to see how much ink is actually in the pen, you know what I mean? This clear barrel. But like I said, this green stuff here is not the ink, it's a plastic covering because it's hollow. I can see down inside there, so I'm not sure how much ink is actually in one of these pens. Now for the Sparkle Pop pens, I have used this pen quite a bit, so you can see right there is the amount of ink left. Let me see if I have one that's closer to being full to kind of show you how much ink is in these things. Okay, here's a different purple one that's a little more full. You can see here how full this is, how far the ink goes down all the way in the pen. It's nice to be able to see where the ink is, but like I said, this has this plastic covering on it, so there may not be that much ink in there. I wish we could take it apart. It seems like this. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that unscrews. Yeah, can you guys see that? This here is not the basin for the ink. It's just a little empty plastic tube. Let's see. I can't see how far in there the ink actually is. I would love to know. Let's see if I can use my phone's flashlight and like look in there. It seems like maybe it's about to here, where the reservoir for the ink actually is in this pen. So there may not be nearly as much ink in these, so that's something to keep in mind. I've had my Sparkle Pop pens for years, and they have lasted me quite a while for just the little, details that I do here and there. These have lasted quite a while. Now these may not last nearly as long looking at how much ink is actually in them. So that's something to keep in mind. These are saving you money, but it seems like there's not going to be nearly as much ink in one of these. They are nice and thin. Not as comfortable to hold, I'm guessing. The Sparkle Pop pins do have this grip right here, whereas these are just your basic pin, but of course, you know, being cheaper, I think they would look a little cheaper. Let's actually go ahead and swatch out the colors though, and we will compare them to the Sparkle Pop pins that I have already swatched out here. So let's set that aside and let's start to swatch these, and we'll see how they stack up. Like I said, it doesn't say how much ink is actually in them. The box itself is pretty blank. But we'll see what the 12 colors are. I don't use the dual metallic pins for the dual metallic purpose. You know, I don't put them on the dark paper. I just use them on white paper, so that's what we're going to compare here, is how these look on white paper, because I really only care about the look on white paper. Alright, so that is pink. Can you guys see that there? That's pink. Here, let me actually make that a little bigger. It looks like it's pink and blue. There is a piece of paper, there we go, preventing me from putting that down flat. Okay, so it does color pretty smoothly. Goes on pretty smooth, that's nice. This is a very nice, shiny pink color. So, pink. Alright. This also looks pink, but let's find out. Okay, this is like a lighter pink color. This is more in line with the pink provided by the dual metallic. So you could call the top one more like a hot pink, and this is more like a light pink. It is nice that you do get the extra color options with this set. I do like that. So let's see here. We've got a light green barrel color, so that's probably going to be light green, right? Ooh, yeah, that's like a lime green color. I would say that the quality of the pin nib is pretty good. Definitely not as nice as the Pentel ones, but of course you are paying so much more money for them. They are a little scratchy. Well, scratchy's not quite the right term. Let me show you here with these dual metallic ones. For example, the pink color, because it's on the white paper for the dual metallics, is just solid pink. I've just put down this light green color, and you can see the yellow showing through it a lot more than you can with the dual metallic. Again, these are all pretty solid one color, and when you put them on black color, when you put them on a black page, they're a different color. With these, you can see the other color kind of shining through a little bit more, so that's something to keep in mind. So much yellow is showing through in that I'm actually going to call that color yellow rather than green, even though the barrel is light green. It's definitely more of a yellow. Okay, so now let's do the next one, which is our regular old dark green, or just green. Okay, yeah, that looks a lot better. That's a nice one. That one looks a lot better. That one is just green. I don't really see the other color shining through nearly as bad on that one. I would consider that just to be green. See, with this dark pink up here, you can see a little bit of a blue shining through it. It seems like it just varies by the color that you are using. Alright, what's next? This looks to be a purple color. Yep, that is purple. Yeah, the pin nibs, they're pretty good. I would say they're pretty good. They're the same size, and they're getting decent coverage. Again, scratchy was the wrong word to use there. It's just more like the other color shines through a little bit. They're not scratchy. It's not denting the page or anything. They do go on pretty smooth. I don't feel the pin catching on the paper or anything. So that's nice. That was number 5, so let's do number 6. which looks orange. That is a very bright orange for sure. And see, I don't see the dual color shining through at all on that orange. So that is just a solid looking orange on paper. The only, yeah, they just feel a bit cheaper, of course, because they are a much thinner pen and they don't have the little grip on the end there. Here is blue. Very, very similar to the dual metallic blue color. And again, I don't see anything shining through on that. Really just the yellow and the pink is where I'm seeing the dual color come through, because I can tell the pink is supposed to be blue. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go for our next color here. That looks orange again. Have I pulled out the wrong pin? No, I just pulled. Alright, there we go. Okay, this is kind of like a hunter green color. It's a much darker green than the barrel for this one up here, but we'll see what it looks like on paper. Okay, it's like the green out of the dual metallic. We'll call it like a greenish blue color, like a sea green maybe. And I can see a little bit of like a lighter green coming through on that one. Not too bad. So we'll call that sea green. So we are 8 colors in now. That would be the end if we were doing the dual metallics, because there are only 8 colors, but we've got extra here. This looks yellow, but I know there is a gold and silver in this set, so I'm betting this might be our gold. Yeah. Well, actually, if it's a gold, it's a light gold color. It's not a very dark gold. I think we'll call that gold. Let me take a look here at these other pens, because I haven't. Should that be gold, I wonder? Yeah, for sure. That's our gold. So it's more of a light gold color. And then, yeah, the next one is a gray pen, if I could get it out. There we go. A gray pen barrel. So that's going to probably be silver. Now this one is not showing up very well. This pen doesn't want to lay down nearly as well as the other ones, so having a little bit of trouble getting this to come out. It doesn't look like the pen nib is blocked. It's just not wanting to come out very well. This one is scratchy for sure. This one is scratching the paper a little bit. Alright. So that's silver, the best I can get it to come out. And let's see. Next up, this looks like it's dark brown color, like maybe chocolate. Let's see. Okay, yeah, this is like a dark brown color. So you get some colors in here that are kind of unusual. You might want to use that dark brown for something, and I would say that a dark brown sparkly pen is kind of an uncommon color. So that's definitely, that's new. Okay, and here this looks like a very dark blue color, like a royal blue. It's definitely darker than the other blue, that's for sure. Yep. So we'll call that dark blue. Let's take a look at the Amazon ad for these here, and I will tell you, if you are interested in using these for the dual purpose, what the secondary color is supposed to be on the ones that are not shining through there. Like I said, I don't put them on dark paper to use these secondary colors ever, so if you're interested in that, let me just pull this up because I still have it on my Amazon wish list and tell you what they are. And this company, I haven't seen anything else from them, just these metallic pens with people comparing them to the dual metallics, like I said, so I had to take a jump and get them. Alright. Okay, so the colors, to me, really look the same on the ad. They don't say the name of what they're supposed to be, they just sort of have a picture of the different colors. So let's, oh, there we go. Okay. So this isn't dark brown. This is supposed to be black and red. I think picking it up, yeah, it looks more red. I think some of the black in the background that's supposed to be the dual color is shining through on this one and making this dark brown actually look, yeah, it's making it look brown, but this is actually black. Okay, so that's supposed to be black. Looks dark brown to me. Alright, so silver and then silver. Okay, purple, the other color is dark blue. Pink and pink. Orange and yellow. Gold and gold. Green and blue. This is supposed to be fuchsia and blue, and a lot of the blue is shining through on that. It's supposed to be fuchsia on the white paper and blue on the dark paper, but again, you can see a lot of the blue. Okay, so fuchsia. So royal blue and gold. Okay, so that's an interesting combination. Then yellow green and metallic green. Okay, so this is supposed to be a yellow color here, but again, I can see some other green coming through. I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be a green pen or not because the barrel of that pen is green. And then light green and gold. Alright, so that's interesting. Those are the dual colors. It actually does say the color doesn't show up well on dark paper, so it's recommended to use it on white paper and to let it dry. Interesting. That's interesting. Alright, so let's go ahead and, since that's supposed to be black, I scribbled out where I said brown. Let's tear this off. Oops, tore off the top there, but that'll be alright. And look at these side by side in the light. They are really, in my opinion, just as shiny as the dual metallic pens for sure. Can you guys see that? They definitely have the same really nice shine to them as the dual metallic pens. I'm actually kind of impressed. I thought they would be a little bit duller. Now my only problem is, like I said, I don't know how well it's going to show up. Let me try to zoom in here. Some of these colors that are supposed to be dual, they just shine through so bad. Alright, can you see the yellow here? This is supposed to be yellow. Can you see all that green in it? I would want it to just be the solid yellow. You know, here with our dual metallics, for example, this is red and black, and you can see that it's red. There's not really any black showing through. If I put it on darker paper, it'll show up with the black color. The pink is the solid pink. You know, this green doesn't have anything showing up in it. But for these here, the ones that are a little bit cheaper, you can kind of see the second color coming through a lot. I think it's most clear on the yellow, but down here on the dark blue, you know, if I turn it that way, you can see a lot of that gold coming through. So you're going to have to make the choice when you're coloring your page, you know, or do you want it to be just a solid dark blue sparkle? If you do, then you might want to go with the blue out of the dual metallics, or are you okay with, you know, the little bit of gold showing up depending on how you look at it. I will say the silver pen I had a little bit of problems with getting hung up on itself. They don't look, they felt smooth going on, but comparing them to the dual metallic pens, it doesn't look as smooth now on the paper. You can see that it just looks a little bit scratchier. Now again, they are cheaper. Let's do something here on the back of one of these. Okay, so let's pull out one of these colors from this. We'll do pink and pink. How about that? And let's color with this pink from the dual metallic pens really quickly. Okay? And you can see how nice this is going on. Let me get back up on the camera. There we go. A lot of nice coverage. I don't really have to go back over it. Nice, smooth. There aren't really any pin lines in that. I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger so it shows up better on camera. We're kind of going to do a big block there. There we go. There you go. You see, that's really nice and smooth looking. So let's do the pink out of the cheaper ones. See, there's kind of, it gets hung up a little bit, I think. Alright. Yeah, it's just a little more, you can see the pin lines in it more, if that makes sense. You can see the lines from the nib in it a little more. Let me try to hold it up to the camera and show you what I'm talking about. This is a very smooth, solid square, whereas this, can you see that that is, let me see if I can zoom in even more onto this. Yeah, there we go. That's good. Can you see that that's just more scratchy looking? It's not as nice and smooth and solid as this one. So that's something to keep in mind. They do have the same sparkle. That's pretty crazy. They are just as sparkly as the dual. There we go. That's showing it really good now. Now you can really see what I'm talking about. See how that looks? See how many lines and scratches there are on it from the nib and how smooth this one from the dual metallic is? Yeah, there we go. So they are just as sparkly though. If I hold this up, you can see both of them really, really sparkle, and so kind of from a distance you can't tell that this one is, you know, scratchier. They kind of look the same from a distance, but up close, once it focuses, if it'll focus again, there we go, you can see just how scratchy that is. So that's something to keep in mind, you know, if you don't mind it being that scratchy, then I think these are a really good cheap alternative. They don't feel as nice in your hand, again, because they're smaller and they don't have this grip on them. So they're just not going to feel as nice in your hand. They're a little bit cheaper. Now, the one thing I'll say that I really don't like about these is this plastic covering, so you cannot see how much ink is in there. With the dual metallic pen, I know that it's got a colored plastic on it, but let's see if I can take this apart and show you. I think it comes apart here. Yeah, it comes apart here. Look at that. You can see just how much ink you have left in the pen, right? It's perfectly clear how much ink is in this and how full it originally was. It goes to right there. And you can see all of this pink. Now with this cheaper pen here, which comes off at the top, it's got this plastic around it. It's got a plastic covering, and you can see where the ink reservoir is supposed to be. It's inside this plastic covering. You know, like I said, you can see down inside the plastic covering. So you can't see how much ink is actually in this pen. I have no idea how much ink this holds. I could be getting very little ink for what I'm paying for because I haven't used these to see how long they last. So that's a little bit of a red flag to me. I'm going to have to let you guys know how long this lasts. I can't, like I said, I really can't see down inside it to see where the ink, maybe about right here. If I'm looking at it, it's a little hard to angle like that. It goes to, I want to say, maybe about right here is where the ink is. So that tells me it's not a lot of ink. Or they're trying to hide how much ink there really is in the pen by putting this plastic covering on. I don't understand why they've got that on there, because you cannot see the ink inside to see how much ink you have left. So keep that in mind. For sure, I'm thinking these definitely don't have that much ink in them. There's no real reason to hide it like that unless it's just a cheap way to show the color, but to me the color is pretty evident from what little bit of ink you can see here at the tip. that's pretty evident that that's pink to me, so you don't really need the plastic case. So keep that in mind. And let me put my dual metallic pen back together here. Alright, so let's take one last look at this here. Nice and shiny, just as shiny as the other one. So, they are comparable, yes, on the shininess. That is true. They are absolutely just as glittery and as shiny as the dual metallics. You guys are right on the money with that. The reviews I've seen about that are true. However, the pins themselves definitely are cheaper made. They don't have the nice grip, and of course they're going to be cheaper made because they are the cheaper option. They are about $3 cheaper per set, about a whole dollar cheaper per individual pin. We do the math. But I am really thrown off by this plastic covering that I keep talking about, because I cannot see how much ink is in this. I can't do a fair comparison on how much ink you really get for the price. It's impossible to say. And I don't want to cut one of these up and get ink everywhere. You know what I mean? If I cut it wrong, I'm going to cut into the ink reservoir that's going to go everywhere, all over my table and tablecloth and my hands, so I don't want to do that. But I wish you could just see how much ink is in this. And again, because of that, I gotta say, for this, the overall aesthetics of how the pen looks and feels in your hand, the Sparkle Pop pins are gonna win for me. For how glittery they are, they're tied, honestly. You could use either of these for just how glittery they are. But now, for how the pen actually goes on the paper, once again, I'll bring this back up where you can see it. That's showing through a little bit. I don't want that to show through as much. There we go. You can see that... Why are we showing through so bad? Now, we just did fine a second ago. Here, let me get a solid piece of paper. Okay. You can see how scratchy this one is compared to the dual metallic. It doesn't go on nearly as smooth. That's got to be a difference in the pin nib there. It's just not as smooth, kind of a little more scratchy looking, it doesn't look as complete, if that makes sense. You probably have to go over it several times with the cheaper pen to achieve the same smoothness that you're getting with the dual metallic in just one layer. If I went over this a couple of times, it would probably end up looking like this. So for me, I would have to say, alright, here's my final thoughts on these. Yes. These are just as glittery as the Sparkle Pop pins from Pentel that are more expensive. However, you cannot tell how much ink is in these. It may be a very small amount. They've made it impossible to tell how much ink you're getting in this. And these do not lay down as smooth. And occasionally, as we can see with our little list here, the dual color shines through. So if you're looking for something a little more solid that lays down smoother and cleaner, go ahead and go out the money for the dual metallic gel pens. I know they're expensive, but they're the best for a reason. If you can't go out the money for them and you cannot afford them, this is a good, cheap alternative. I wouldn't throw these away. I will use these. I may not buy a second set. I may continue to buy the Pentel pens. But yes, they are a good, cheaper alternative. Just keep in mind, they are a cheaper alternative, and you can tell. It shows through in the quality of the pen, the quality of the nib, how it goes down, and the fact that the ink shines through. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching this review, and let me know what your opinions are. Do you have these? Have you compared them to the Sparkle Pop pens? What do you think?